everybody. So today I wanted to go into a little bit of sort of teaching tips and tricks and also sound reference related to the Breval Cello Sonata in C major. I have a couple of students working on this piece right now, and I wanted to be able to provide a little bit of a sound reference as well as walk you through how I approach some of the ornaments as well as some of the tricky bowings and rhythms. So I'm going to begin by playing through the first half of this, ending at the double bar most of the way down the page that has the G major chord, you know, that section. So I'm going to play all the way through there so that if you're just trying to get a basic sound reference, you can do that from this video. But then I'm going to go into a couple of specifics or details about how I do some of the things that I'm doing here. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so that's most of the first page and certainly the first section of this sonata. So let's go back and just talk a little bit about some of these ornaments and rhythms and things of that nature. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the ornament at the end of the first line, right? So what I tell my students about all of the ornaments and turns and trills and everything else in this piece, make sure that your overall rhythm, in this case just 3 quarter notes, is rock solid before you start to put in grace notes and trills and things of that nature. So in this case, I actually have my students practice for the first week without the trills or turns so that they really get this quarter note rhythm solid in their heads. And I think a good way to practice this, actually even when you do look to get the ornaments, is play these 3 quarter notes several times like this and then try to fit the trill and the grace notes in. And for the record, several of the trills that are marked in this sonata, I play as turns. The difference between a turn and a trill is a turn is just one time that you go up and down, and a trill implies that you're doing it several times, so a trill would be more like... I just play a simple turn. I think it sounds a little cleaner and gives a little bit more space. And it's also just one notch easier to execute with the proper rhythm of the 3 quarter notes. So again, you know, and maybe every other is a good way to practice. Okay, so that's that first ornament there. Some other things that I think are important: watch out for things like hooked bows. Right? All of those 8th notes in the 3rd line that have dots over them and ties are going to be hooked bows or double up bows. So in the middle of the 3rd line there. And then here we are at another ornament. notice, what did I do again? I made sure to practice without the turn first, and then I'm going to go in back and insert it. So it's, is it without anything, and that's it with the turn. Again, another one that I do a turn instead of a trill, if I'm being really honest about it. I like the way that it sounds, and I think it's nice and clean and easy. Okay, one of the biggest things about this section that we're about to come into, or about this piece, is this idea of duple versus triple. So I have in line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I start to get into the duple versus triple. Okay, so I come out of triple, 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 duple. So if you heard there were a handful of measures, let's say, call it 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 10 to 12 measures where you're interchangeably going back and forth between a duple timing, which is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and the triplet timing, which is 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. Right? So you're trying to fit 3 notes in instead of 2 in that triplet. So for some of my students that struggle with this a little bit, I recommend even doing a rhythmic exercise, either clapping. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. This can also be done on the cello, right? Right? So that's a really good way to get that feel going, so that when you have so really practicing that triple versus duple is going to be a big deal in the end of that first half. Great. As I move forward to the second half, we're going to make a separate video for that, just because of time and who wants to dig into what. Okay? So watch out for video number 2 for the Breval Sonata in C major. Looking forward to seeing you over there.